All right, as you know, the government yesterday released, well, they're not 100-day plans anymore. They're like quarterly plans, the latest PowerPoint from Chris Luxon. And there were three main headings: rebuild the economy, ease the cost of living, restore law and order, and deliver better public services. The shortest list under those three headings was restore law and order. And I'll just refresh your memory. Progress legislation to improve rehab in prisons. Take decisions to restore three strikes. Launch a review of the firearms registry, and take decisions on establishing a youth serious offender category. And I'm going to talk about those things with our next guest in a moment. But I noticed that on the list was not stop crimes against pedestrian crossings. We are joined now by Mark Mitchell, the Minister of Police. Minister, nice to have you back with us. Welcome on board.
Good morning, Sean.
All right, well, I did notice that stop people painting over rainbow road crossings, pedestrian crossings, wasn't on the government's list of restore law and order priorities. Is that because it's not a priority or because it is?
Well, it shouldn't be a priority at all. I mean, it's a complete and utter waste of police time. And you know, I mean, they have to take some action on it because we want to stop the idiots that are out there sort of doing this stuff.
Well, what? Do you mean painting the rainbow crossings or painting over the rainbow crossings?
No, I mean painting over the rainbow crossings. I mean, you know, in my view, it's probably just an attempt to get some publicity and draw some attention to themselves, and probably in some ways we're feeding the beast ourselves. But you know, the police have got far more important things to focus on and worry about than someone, vandalising crossings.
I know you would be loath to interfere in operational matters and tell the police commissioner exactly what to do. But by saying what you have just said, I guess you're already sending a signal that you do not consider this government does not consider the protection of rainbow crossings rights to be a priority.
No, I think you've taken me out of context. My point is that whoever's doing it should stop it, because it means that it ties up police resources, and there's better thing the police that should be doing. I mean, if they continue to do it, then the police, I'm sure, and you're right, it is an operational matter, will investigate and take action on it, because we do want to stop it. My message is, whoever's doing it, stop it, because you are drawing police resource away from the critically important role that they have at the moment, and getting on top of the violence perpetrated by gangs and violent retail crime.
All right, so you do support police and the level of resources they are putting in to protecting rainbow pedestrian crossings?
I always support the police in terms of enforcing the law and making sure that law-abiding citizens' rights are protected over and above those that want to break the law. But what I don't support is the people that are out there doing this, because they are drawing police resource away from much-needed other services.
Like catching the killers of children, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, how come one of your priorities is not to ensure that people who interfere with crime scenes and refuse to cooperate with police in the investigation of infanticide are brought to justice? And I'm sure you know the name Ruthless Empire.
Look, I think that the police will always take action where they have the powers to do so. Certainly in the interference of a crime scene, that is a serious offence.
Well, that's happened in Baby Ruth's case. No one has been prosecuted, charged or sent to prison.
Well, that is an operational matter for police, and you are right, there is a separation. And so I'm not going to talk to or get involved in operational matters by police, but I do know that that they are highly motivated, and you've got, these cases, Sean, are extremely stressful on the police staff themselves that actually investigate them. They're always highly motivated to bring the offenders to justice, and they'll work enormous hours and stay completely focused on that. But in terms of the situation that you've just sort of outlined around interference with the crime scene, the police have got powers; they can take action against that.
Why aren't they then? Why aren't they then?
Well, I mean, you'd have to give me a clear example of why they're not.
Well, they're not, because they have said that evidence was destroyed or removed, the crime scene was interfered without and no one's been charged over that. And there were only three people at the address. There's an example.
Look, and again, we're wading into operational issues where you and I don't know all the information.
All right. Well, I only know what I read in the newspapers. Mind you, that's not always reliable either, is it?
That's the problem. And that's the whole problem, is you're relying on what you read in what the media is feeding you. And I'd say to you that there is a lot more information that is probably missing that completes the picture.
Look, let's go to broader issues then. And law and order was a major policy plank for the National Party in the run-up to the election, and it has had some prominence since from the coalition. We talked to Sonny Corshall from the Dairy Owners Association last week, and he said really, in real terms, his members haven't seen a drop-off or a reduction in crime.
Yeah, well, I think that, that without a doubt, Sean, when you've got a Labor government that was in for 2,000 plus days, it's going to take a bit more than 100 plus to turn it around. But we have focused on it. The police are already starting to have very good results around retail crime. They have got dedicated resources in there now. They're running specific operations to deal with it. The gangs, you've seen a much harder approach taken to the policing of gangs. Since we came into government, we haven't had any towns taken over or, by gang members. And I think that, so I think you are starting to see a very strong response from police with the change of government.
Okay. Look, I'm also just want to make an inquiry. The wording is strange in the latest, PowerPoint from Chris Luxon.
Yep.
What does take decisions on establishing a youth serious offender category mean? Either you've decided to establish a youth serious offender category if you want. Why don't you just say establish a youth serious offender category and make youth military academies a standalone sentencing option for youth courts? Why is that prefaced by take decisions?
Look, I think that what happens in government is that decisions aren't taken, and so things are delayed. And when you've got the Youth Military Academy has got several stakeholder ministers and agencies involved in that, and in terms of putting the program together and getting the pilot up and running, and so it's a very clear, setting a very clear target that
point
those
23
will continue to take decisions.
Yeah, take decisions to restore 3 strikes. Why doesn't that just say restore 3 strikes?
Well, again, exactly the same thing. As what we're doing is we're holding ourselves to account. And historically, what happens in government, certainly in the last government, is that you had a whole lot of ministers and officials that didn't take decisions and kept kicking the can down the road. And this is very clearly a target that's been set that those decisions will be made. And in terms of the 3 strikes legislation, it's back in the House. It's strengthened. Obviously, Paul Goldsmith signalled that we were going to strengthen that legislation. He'll be working on that. There will be stakeholder ministers involved in that again, including myself. And the signal is that we're going to continue to make decisions and get things done.